This audiobook is a doorway, not to new knowledge, but to ancient memory, to the quiet knowing that what you see isn't all there is, and who you think you are is only the surface. The world is not what you see. Introduction. The world you see is not as solid as you think. It bends, it moves, it mirrors, and it's doing it right now. Not by chance, not by fate, but by design. Your design. Every belief you've repeated, every "I can't" you've whispered, every truth you've accepted as unchangeable, has laid the bricks of a dream you mistook for fact. This is not a dream someone gave you. It's a dream you've agreed to. But now, something in you is beginning to stir. A remembering that this world, this mirror, isn't fixed, and neither are you. This audiobook is your invitation to wake up from the hypnosis of limitation, to lift the veil on perception, and to reclaim the one truth no one can take from you. You are the perceiver, the dreamer, the projector, and with that awareness, you can rewrite the script of your world. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Dream Called Reality. Seeing through the illusion of the solid world. From the moment we're born, we're taught to trust what we see, touch, taste, measure. We're told that reality is out there, something separate, objective, and independent of our mind. But what if the very foundation of this belief is flawed? What if what you call reality is actually perception, wearing a mask? A dream so vivid, so convincing, you forgot you were the one dreaming it. This world, your world, is not as external as it seems. It is not a screen you watch. It's a mirror, a reflection of you. Not just your conscious wants, but your unconscious agreements. The silent "I ams" you never questioned. The background emotions you've normalized. The expectations you carry without knowing. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. And that changes everything. We think reality happens to us. But look closer. Have you noticed how your internal state colors everything you perceive? On a day when you're anxious, the world looks threatening. On a day when you're peaceful, the same world softens. Nothing outside changed. Only you did. But here's the secret. That shift isn't a glitch. It's the code. Reality moves in response to you. Your awareness, your focus, your identity. You are not inside the world. The world is inside your consciousness. Ancient mystics called it Maya. Modern science calls it perception filtering. Call it what you will. The conclusion is the same. Reality is not solid. It's programmable. And the keyboard isn't out there. It's in here. Your beliefs, your identity, your I am. You've been handed a dream. The dream of separation, struggle, limitation. But it's just that. A dream. And dreams can be changed by the one who's dreaming them. So take a breath, not to relax, but to remember that this chapter isn't just a metaphor. It's your cue to stop reacting to the world like it's fixed, and start engaging with it like it's yours to mold. You are not stuck. You are not trapped. You are dreaming with your eyes open. And this chapter, this is the first ripple, the first crack in the illusion. Because the world is not as solid as you think. It's as flexible as you believe. In the next chapter, we'll reveal the mirror, not the one on your wall, but the one life uses to reflect your every thought and state of being. You've looked outward for long enough. Now, it's time to look inward and see how the world is simply responding to you. Chapter 2. The Mirror Principle. Life reflects who you are, not what you want. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you are. Let that land. Because everything, yes, everything, happening around you is a perfect echo of what's happening within you. Not your thoughts alone, but the energy underneath them. The self-image you carry like a shadow. The silent I am humming in the background of your being. You can't fake energy. The universe isn't listening to your words. It's picking up your signal. This is the mirror principle. Reality is not a neutral stage. It is an intelligent mirror. And it doesn't reflect your desires. It reflects your dominant identity. Say it again. The world doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you believe you are. That's why two people can walk into the same room and have two completely different experiences. One sees rejection. The other sees opportunity. One feels invisible. The other becomes magnetic. What changed? Not the room, not the people, them. Your inner state shapes your outer world, moment by moment, not as punishment, not as reward, but as a mirror of truth. Examples you already know, but may not see. Let's go deeper. Think about someone who constantly says, "People always take advantage of me." Over time, their life fills with experiences that match that statement, not because the world is cruel, but because the mirror has no choice but to reflect their belief. Now think of the person who walks into a room and instantly shifts the energy. They don't try to be magnetic. They are magnetic. Why? Because their I am is rooted in self-worth. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. And this is where so many people misunderstand the game. They hustle to change circumstances, chase validation, beg the mirror to change, while refusing to look at the face staring into it. But the mirror has no memory. It doesn't care about your past. It only reflects your current frequency. Change that, and everything changes with it. The problem with wanting. Most people stay stuck in the loop of wanting. I want more money. I want love. I want peace. But wanting is a declaration of lack. It's an announcement to the universe. I don't have this. And the mirror replies, as you say, so it is. This is why wanting can become a trap. Because what you consistently affirm, whether you know it or not, is who you are. I want keeps you in separation. I am brings it into presence. Shift your language. I want to be confident becomes, I am remembering my confidence. I want to be free becomes, I am releasing what keeps me small. You don't have to lie to yourself. You just have to speak from becoming, not from lack. Interrupting the mirror, a radical choice. The moment you realize reality is a mirror, you gain a power most never touch. The power to interrupt the reflection, to stop waiting for life to change and start changing the signal you're sending out. This doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means becoming radically honest about what you're broadcasting and choosing to shift it. Ask yourself, what is my life reflecting back to me right now? What does that say about what I'm projecting? If you keep attracting chaos, ask, where am I still addicted to drama? If you keep feeling unseen, ask, where am I still hiding from my own power? These questions aren't easy, but they're sacred. Because the moment you see the pattern, you can stop being its victim and start becoming its author. A simple, sacred practice. Mirror check-in. Each morning, stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes and ask, what am I reflecting today? Is this the version of me I want to magnify? Then speak your truth into that mirror, not from who you were yesterday, but from who you are choosing to be today. Try this. I am clarity. I am worthy of being seen. I am the one I've been waiting for. Do this not to impress the universe, but to remind yourself who's really creating your world. Because you are. Your life is not random. It is responsive. And the world you experience is not a fixed script. It is a canvas that paints itself according to the brush of your identity. You are not separate from the world you see. You are woven into it. As artist, author, and architect, so speak as the one who knows the mirror responds. Not someday, today, because it already is. Chapter 3. The frequency behind the words. Why energy always speaks first. Before you say anything out loud, your energy has already spoken. Before your lips shape a sentence, your vibration has already made the request. This is the part few people realize. It's not the words that shape your reality. It's the feeling behind them, the state of being that carries them. Because creation doesn't respond to language. It responds to truth, the kind that hums in your nervous system and echoes through the field. You are not manifesting with syllables. You're manifesting with signal. Energy comes first. Words come after. As a child, you didn't need words to know when something felt off. You sensed the tension in a room. You felt safety in some people, unease in others. You read the world in frequency, long before you could spell your name. That ability didn't vanish. It just got buried under noise, logic, and conditioning. But life still reads you that way. And so does the universe. When your body tenses with fear, but your mouth says, everything's fine. Guess which one creation responds to? Exactly. Your state wins every time. It's not what you say, it's what you mean. You can repeat positive phrases all day long, but if they're laced with anxiety or doubt, they don't land with power. They land with contradiction. There's a difference between a hopeful statement and an aligned transmission. The former reaches out, hoping for change. The latter broadcasts change because it already feels true. Real alignment doesn't beg for results. It expects them. And that expectation isn't arrogance. It's frequency recognizing its reflection. Emotion is the volume knob of creation. Thoughts whisper. Emotion amplifies. State broadcasts. When your internal world is congruent, your body, your emotion, your thought, you send out a frequency that the universe cannot ignore. This is why joy magnetizes, why gratitude speeds things up, why peace draws miracles quietly and without fanfare. You're not doing the work anymore. You are the work. You're no longer trying to speak things into existence. You've become the signal that calls them in. How to speak from aligned state. Before words can carry power, you must tune the instrument behind them, yourself. Here are 4 ways to do that. First, center, declare second. Don't rush to declare from a scattered state. Sit, breathe, drop into your body. Feel the energy of what you're becoming. Then speak, not because it sounds right, but because it feels inevitable. 2. Move into the frequency. Shift your body before you shift your story. Walk like someone who knows the outcome is certain. Move with certainty, even if doubt is knocking. When your physiology changes, your beliefs follow. 3. Speak with emotion, not just precision. Flat words do nothing, but speak with feeling. Speak with warmth, boldness, stillness, and the whole field listens. Emotion makes your transmission sticky. It tells life, this is real now. 4. Use silence as power. Sometimes the most aligned energy carries no words. Sit in stillness after your declaration. Let the vibration settle. Don't rush to prove it. Let it be. Your signal shapes the script. You've heard it said, we don't get what we want. We get who we are. Wanting speaks of absence. Being embodies presence. It's not about faking it. It's about stepping into resonance before the evidence shows up. Feel into that version of yourself. The one who already lives the life you keep describing. Ask yourself, how does that version walk into a room? How do they respond to challenge? How do they hold their peace? Then move as that person, not later. Now, frequency doesn't lie. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to the signal you are. So let every word you speak rise from alignment. Let each thought carry the weight of your inner truth. And when in doubt, return to stillness, because even silence, when held with power, becomes a transmission. In the next chapter, we go deeper into embodiment. What it truly means to live from the reality you're choosing, and how to walk as if it's already here. Because words can initiate, but only action seals the identity. Chapter 4. Walking as the outcome. Becoming the reality you seek. There comes a moment on the path of transformation when words are no longer enough. You've declared, you've aligned, you've tuned your inner frequency. Now comes the step that most skip. Living as if it's already done. Not faking, not forcing, but being the version of you that no longer waits. This chapter is about walking as the outcome. The embodied version of your truth, where your movement, your posture, your breath, and your silence speak louder than any affirmation ever could. Becoming the signal. You don't chase a future self. You become the future self, here, now. In the small decisions, in the invisible choices, in how you hold your coffee or enter a room. Because reality responds not to your dreams, but to your embodied identity. Let's be clear. You're not trying to manifest a life. You're learning how to walk as the person who already lives it. That's the shift. Identity first, circumstance second. The old way says, once I get the result, I'll feel confident. Once they love me, I'll feel worthy. Once I have money, I'll feel secure. But the field doesn't work that way. Confidence doesn't follow success. Success follows confidence. Worthiness doesn't come after the relationship. The relationship reflects worthiness already claimed. Security doesn't arrive with money. It's what draws it in. That's the law. State precedes evidence. You're not waiting for the outer to shift. You're embodying the shift that makes the outer inevitable. Micro actions equals macro signals. You don't have to revolutionize your life overnight. Start small, consistent, intentional. Ask yourself, how does the version of me who is already successful start the day? How do they respond to a delay or challenge? What do they tolerate? What do they release? What boundaries do they hold with grace? Then, practice being that now. Not to get something, but to align with who you've always been beneath the fear. Let your body remember. Sometimes your mind will hesitate. It will replay the doubts, the old stories, the ifs and maybes. That's okay. Let your body lead. Your body knows how to carry power. It knows how to move, like someone who is no longer begging life to approve. Soften your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Lift your chest. Breathe like someone who is safe in their becoming. Move like the future is already unfolding under your feet, because it is. Neutral confidence, the quiet power. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. You don't even need to convince yourself anymore. When embodiment is real, it doesn't feel theatrical. It feels natural, peaceful, inevitable. That's the secret of neutral confidence. The kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself. When you walk as the outcome, people feel it. Opportunities shift toward you. Not because you chased them, but because you became the signal that calls them in. Walking the subtle path. Embodiment is not loud. It's not hustle. It's not trying to be something you're not. It's subtle. It's sacred. It's living in congruence. You feel the internal alignment when you walk away from what no longer matches you. You feel it when you speak from grounded certainty instead of performance. You feel it when peace becomes your new baseline. This is how the new timeline arrives. Quietly. Then all at once. Your life is your declaration. At this level, you no longer need a vision board. Your life becomes the board. Your daily choices become the spells. Your walk, your habits, your rest, your standards. They all whisper, "This is who I am now." Not for attention, not to impress, but because anything else feels like a lie. You don't just declare it with words anymore. You live it with your energy, and the world can't help but reflect it. You've already spoken the words. You've already shifted the frequency. Now comes the embodiment. Let every step echo your becoming. Let every decision match your intention. Let every action be a love letter to your future. Because when you walk as the outcome, you're no longer hoping for alignment. You are alignment. In the next chapter, we will explore the energetic cost of contradiction, how subconscious doubt hijacks your creation, and how to unhook from the silent sabotage hiding behind your habits. But for now, move as if it's done, because it is. Chapter 5. Clearing the contradiction. The hidden cost of energetic inconsistency. There is a silent force that cancels out manifestation. It's not a lack of vision. It's not a broken technique. It's energetic contradiction. When your words say one thing, but your energy quietly says another. You declare a new reality with confidence, and then apologize for it with your actions. You speak abundance, but choose from fear. You affirm love, but entertain what hurts. You say, "I am." But your nervous system whispers, "I don't believe you." And the universe, ever so faithful, responds not to your wish, but to your alignment. The split signal. Energy doesn't lie. It bypasses what's spoken and listens to what's embodied. When your intention says forward, but your pattern clings to the past, a split signal is sent out into the field. And what does a split signal attract? Mixed results, half-manifested outcomes, false starts, loops, silence. This is not punishment. It's precision. The field mirrors coherence. When you're fragmented within, reality fragments without. Why good declarations fail? You may wonder, but I'm doing the work. I say the right affirmations. I visualize daily. Why isn't it working? Because this process isn't mechanical. It's electrical. You're not rewarded for rituals. You're reflected through resonance. The real work isn't saying the new belief. It's identifying the old attachment that contradicts it. Let's break it down. You declare, "I'm ready to receive." But deep down, you still feel guilty about wanting more. You say, "I'm attracting healthy love." But you still answer messages from the one who made you feel small. You affirm, "I'm wealthy now." But you hoard, hesitate, and move like someone preparing to lose. Contradiction isn't just doubt. It's unresolved trauma pretending to be logic. It's the echo of an old identity trying to survive. The nervous system always tells the truth. Here's something rarely spoken, in spiritual circles. Your body can block your manifestation, not because it's bad, but because it's protecting you from what it once learned was unsafe. You say you want to be seen, but your breath shortens when eyes are on you. You say you want intimacy, but your shoulders tense when someone gets too close. You say you're ready for abundance, but your gut contracts at the idea of receiving without effort. These are not signs of failure. They're invitations to regulate your body, to match your intention. The nervous system must feel safe in the reality you desire, or it will sabotage it, no matter how beautifully you speak it. How to unhook the contradiction. This chapter is not about blame. It's about integration, bringing all parts of you into agreement. Here are 3 ways to begin. 1. Name the split. Bring awareness to where your actions, habits, or body cues contradict your declarations. Ask yourself, where am I saying yes with words, but no with behavior? What identity am I secretly protecting by staying in this loop? What belief would I have to release to fully allow what I'm calling in? Don't judge. Just notice. Awareness is the beginning of all liberation. 2nd, regulate before you declare. Before making bold affirmations, pause. Breathe into your body. Soften your chest. Feel your feet on the ground. Then ask, can I feel this truth in my body? Is my nervous system open or bracing? If your body says no, start there. Declare safety first. It's safe to receive. It's safe to change. It's safe to expand. You cannot embody a frequency your body doesn't feel safe to hold. 3rd, let behavior match belief. This is the alchemy. When what you say and how you live begin to match, you don't just say, I'm abundant. You spend, save, and give from that place. You don't just say, I'm worthy. You walk away from what doesn't honor that. You don't just say, I'm powerful. You make the uncomfortable call, have the hard conversation, take the aligned leap. Because true manifestation isn't mental, it's behavioral. It's who you are when no one's watching. Incoherence has a cost. The cost of contradiction isn't just delay, it's confusion. Energetically, emotionally, spiritually, and confusion drains life force. You weren't designed to live in pieces, to say one thing, feel another, and do a third. Your soul is wired for coherence. When your heart, mind, and body agree, miracles move fast. A moment of alignment. Close your eyes. Breathe deep. Whisper softly, let all of me agree. Let your heart get on board with your mind. Let your body feel safe with your desires. Let your daily life match your highest declaration. This is how you become undeniable. Not louder, but clearer. Because the universe is not confused. It's just waiting for your agreement. In the next chapter, we'll explore the hidden saboteur that lives beneath the surface. The invisible beliefs inherited from culture, childhood, and conditioning, and how to rewrite your internal agreements for permanent transformation. But for now, clean up the contradiction, walk in agreement, and watch the field respond. Chapter 6: The Inherited Script. Rewriting the beliefs you didn't choose. Before you ever spoke your first word, you were already being shaped by glances, by silence, by the tone in someone's voice when you reached for too much, by the stories passed down at the dinner table, by the looks exchanged when you failed or succeeded. You didn't choose these stories, but you lived them. And now, every time you try to expand, you meet them again. The invisible script. You were taught who you are. No one sat you down with a rule book, but still, you learned. You learned whether your dreams were safe, whether your feelings were too much, whether success meant love or rejection. You watched adults shrink themselves, argue over money, tolerate pain, apologize for wanting more. And slowly, without realizing it, you downloaded their reality. Not just their words, but their frequency. Now here you are, trying to write a new life with someone else's pen. Why some change feels impossible. You try to reprogram. You journal. You declare a new truth. But under the surface, there's a quieter belief still running the show. A belief that says, too much success isn't safe. Love always ends in abandonment. If I ask for more, I'll lose everything. Joy doesn't last. These aren't just mental statements. They're emotional conclusions, wired into your body like reflexes. And they're not your fault, but they are your responsibility. Inherited doesn't mean permanent. This is the pivot. Just because you inherited a script doesn't mean you have to perform it. You are not here to repeat your lineage. You're here to recalibrate it, to be the one who breaks the cycle, the one who says, this ends with me. But how? Not by fighting the old story, but by outgrowing it, by becoming so rooted in your truth that the past can no longer speak louder than your presence. The art of rewriting internal agreements. Every unconscious belief is an agreement you never signed, but the moment you notice it, you can rewrite it. Here's how to begin. 1. Identify the root belief. Ask yourself, what recurring pattern keeps showing up in my life? What story does this pattern seem to confirm? Where might I have learned this story? You don't need to relive the trauma. You just need to trace the voice. Was it your mother's scarcity? Your father's silence? A teacher's comment that felt like truth? Name it, without blame. Naming begins the release. 2. Break the agreement out loud. Write the belief down. Then say, this is not mine. I no longer agree to carry this. Feel it in your chest, like you're ripping out an old script from the inside. You're not erasing your history. You're updating your code. You're saying, thank you for getting me this far. But I'm no longer living from survival. I'm here to live from truth. 3. Install a new belief through action. Beliefs don't shift by affirmation alone. They shift when you move differently. If your old belief said, I'm not worthy of being heard, then speaking your truth becomes the new agreement. if your inherited script said, "Don't stand out," then showing up boldly becomes your rewrite. Change doesn't always feel like clarity. Often, it feels like fear. That's how you know you're interrupting the pattern. Because fear is what the old script used to keep you small. You're not running from it anymore. You're walking straight through it. Ancestral healing isn't about the past. It's about the present. It's about choosing not to echo pain that didn't begin with you. It's about becoming a new signal in your family line. One that transmits safety, abundance, truth, and expansion. And you don't need their permission to heal. You don't need your parents to understand. You don't need everyone to agree. You just need to trust what's rising within you. Because your soul didn't come here to repeat. It came here to remember. A simple practice. Rewrite one line a day. Each morning or evening, reflect. What limiting story showed up today? Whose voice was that? What truth do I choose instead? Then write it. Old script. I always mess things up. New script. I learn fast. I course correct with ease. Action. I'll start the thing I've been avoiding. This isn't just journaling. It's authorship. You're becoming the one who writes the future instead of recycling the past. No one can declare for you. Here's the deeper truth. No one can rewire your story. No healer, no guru, no guide. They can point, they can hold space. But only you can re-choose your identity. Only you can look at an old belief and say, that may have been true in their world, but it's no longer true in mine. That's how paradigms shift. Not when the world changes, but when you do. Chapter 7. Displacement. Making room for the new you. Becoming isn't only about addition, it's about subtraction. To step into a new version of yourself, something must shift. Not just in your habits, not just in your thoughts, but in your energetic blueprint. What once occupied your inner space, doubt, limitation, fear, must be gently ushered out to make room for the becoming. This is the law of displacement. Just as you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins, you cannot embody a higher self while clinging to the comforts and conditions of the old one. Change, real change, creates a vacuum, and what you fill it with determines your trajectory. The old must leave first. Many people attempt to manifest a new life while holding tightly to the mindset that created the old one. They declare clarity while feeding confusion. They ask for love while swimming in unworthiness. They reach for abundance while rehearsing scarcity. This doesn't make them wrong. It makes them human. But to truly shift, there must be a surrender, not just of what's outside you, but what's within you. You must evict the false tenets that have long lived in your psyche, the outdated stories, the inherited fears, the borrowed beliefs that never truly belong to you. Before you become, you must unbecome. Identity is not a hat you wear. You don't try on your future self like a jacket. You grow into it by releasing the layers that never fit. And this release is not always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like confusion. Sometimes it feels like grief. Not because you're breaking, but because you're making space. Growth often feels like loss before it feels like freedom. This is displacement at work. It's not enough to visualize the new life. You must live in such a way that the old one can no longer find you. The energetics of alignment. Energy cannot occupy two opposing frequencies at once. You can't be in resonance with expansion while clinging to lack. If you want to dwell in peace, chaos must lose its hold. If you want to embody confidence, the voice of unworthiness must be quieted, not by force, but by replacement. This is the secret. You don't fight the old. You feed the new. You don't wrestle with your former self. You starve it of attention and nourishment. And as you feed the energy of who you're becoming, the old patterns begin to fade, like a house with no tenants. Letting go is sacred. Letting go doesn't mean rejecting your past. It means blessing it, learning from it, and gently stepping beyond it. Every version of you that existed before was doing the best it could with the awareness it had. Displacement honors the past while choosing the future. To shift identities, ask not only, what do I want to become, but also, what must I release to make space for that? Here are a few places to start. Let go of the need to explain yourself. Let go of relationships that only recognize your former self. Let go of environments that whisper you're not enough. Let go of the daily rituals of self-sabotage dressed up as self-comfort. Not in anger, in reverence, because every release is an offering to your future. Create a vacuum of intent. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you clear internal space, something will fill it. The question is, will it be by design or by default? Don't leave that up to chance. Choose what fills you. After you clear the old pattern, install a new one. When you stop saying, I'm stuck, start saying, I'm finding new ways. When you stop thinking, I'm not ready, start affirming, I am preparing with grace. It's not pretending, it's programming. Design the energetic architecture of your becoming. A practice of displacement. Every day, set aside 5 minutes to identify one thought, pattern, or habit you're ready to release. Close your eyes. Feel where it lives in your body. Then breathe into that space and gently speak. Thank you for protecting me, but I no longer need you. You may go. And after a pause, say aloud, in your place, I welcome trust. I welcome clarity. I welcome truth. You may feel nothing at first, or you may feel a quiet unraveling. But over time, these subtle, energetic shifts will create new architecture within you. You are making space. And what you make space for, you invite. Chapter 8. Expression. Letting the new you speak through you. There's a point in transformation when the internal no longer needs to be translated. It simply radiates. Your presence speaks before your words do. Your actions align before your mind plans them. Your truth doesn't need rehearsing. It reveals itself in how you carry silence, how you enter a room, how you respond instead of react. This is expression, not as performance, but as overflow. It's the soft confidence of one who no longer asks, "Am I enough?" It's the grounded magnetism of one who knows, "I'm not becoming this. I already am." You're not trying to be powerful anymore. You're simply clear. And clarity doesn't shout. It moves through you like a current, electrifying everything it touches. Speaking from knowing, not proving. When your identity stabilizes, your voice changes. Not in tone, but in truth. You don't need to convince anyone of who you are. You're not crafting statements to sound wise or spiritual or strong. You just speak from the place where trying has been replaced by being. There's a sacred ease in this. You're no longer thinking, how do I say this right? You're listening for what wants to be said. Expression becomes less about delivering something impressive and more about transmitting something real. Whether you're writing, speaking, teaching, or simply having a conversation, you begin to notice a new energy behind your words. They land differently. They carry a resonance because they're no longer coming from you. They're coming through you. The resonance of truth. People feel your frequency long before they register your content. They may not remember your exact words, but they'll remember how your presence made them feel. That's resonance. Authenticity is a silent language. It doesn't need decoration. It doesn't need volume. It needs alignment. When you speak from a place of energetic congruence, when your inner world matches the signal you're sending out, others feel it. They soften. They listen. They lean in. It's not charisma. It's coherence. You become magnetic not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. You're not trying to pull anyone in. You've simply stopped pushing yourself out of alignment. And that inner stillness, it echoes. From personal effort to divine transmission. There's a moment when you realize you are not the source of your brilliance. You are the vessel. The wisdom you speak, the art you create, the decisions you make, they're not produced by effort. They're received, accessed, transmitted. Expression becomes sacred when you stop filtering it through the fear of how it will be received. You're not performing for approval. You're surrendering to flow. This doesn't mean you abandon discernment. It means you honor the truth as it moves without diluting it to fit old versions of you. The most potent voices aren't always the loudest. They're the ones that carry truth with no distortion, because they aren't seeking to dominate. They're seeking to liberate. Energy over explanation. In a stabilized identity, you realize that not everything needs explaining. Some truths are better lived than said. You can sense this when you speak and someone nods before you finish. Or when your silence says more than your paragraphs ever could. Or when someone is moved not by your message, but by the integrity behind it. This is what happens when energy replaces explanation. You don't need 10 reasons. You need presence. You don't need to defend your path. You need to walk it. People can feel when your words are laced with overcompensation, but they can also feel when they're laced with embodiment. One drains, the other heals. The sacred nature of creative output. When identity is whole, creation becomes holy. Your writing no longer comes from a place of, look at me. It becomes, this moved through me. May it move you too. Your actions, small or grand, carry intentionality. Even your daily speech is infused with deeper clarity. You no longer use words to fill space. You speak because something true wants to land. Every sentence becomes a spell. every gesture a ripple. And in this way, the new you begins to shape not just your life, but the world around you. Not with effort, but with essence. The magnetism of alignment. People are drawn to those who are rooted, not because they're flashy, but because they're free. You've seen it before. That quiet person who barely speaks, but somehow commands the room. That artist whose work doesn't follow trends, but awakens something ancient inside you. That teacher who isn't trying to impress, but leaves you changed. What you're feeling is alignment, the energy of someone who is no longer split within themselves. When expression comes from this place, it bypasses logic. It touches the body, the heart, the field. And this is what you become in Chapter 9 of your becoming. Not just someone who thinks differently, but someone whose very being speaks. Chapter 9, Integration, Becoming the Living Transmission. At first, you learn. Then, you embody. Eventually, you become the proof, the walking answer, the silent permission slip that tells others, yes, it's possible. Not because you're louder, not because your life looks perfect on the surface, but because your energy feels different, undeniably real, quietly unshakable. You've moved through the inner rewiring. You've stabilized your identity. You've surrendered the old roles, replaced performance with presence, and let the new truth speak through you. Now, there is nothing left to prove. You are the work. What once was a practice is now a pulse. Where you once reminded yourself to stay aligned, now alignment feels like home. Where you once affirmed new truths, now they echo through your actions. You no longer need rituals to access your center. You are your center. This is integration, not a finish line, but a rhythm. A subtle frequency that hums beneath your daily life. You don't chase clarity anymore. You move from it. And the shift is so profound that even in stillness, you carry momentum. The end of seeking? There comes a day when you stop asking, what do I need to fix? And start asking, what wants to be expressed through me today? Because your life is no longer a problem to solve. It's a canvas to paint, a message to deliver, a sacred whisper to honor. Integration dissolves the seeker, not because the questions disappear, but because they no longer come from lack. Curiosity remains. Hunger transforms into devotion. You wake up not chasing transformation, but living as the result of it. Ordinary moments, extraordinary energy. The most powerful version of you doesn't show up only on stages or in peak moments. It shows up in how you stir your tea, how you respond to frustration, how you hold space for silence without scrambling to fill it. The integrated self is not louder, it's deeper. You begin to notice the energy you bring into the room shifts the room, not because you're trying to be light, but because you've become the lamp. This is what it means to be a living transmission. Not to say wise things, but to become a presence that speaks before your words do. Integration is permission. When you live from your truth, you become permission for others to remember theirs. Not through teaching, through being. Your energy says, you don't have to force it. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be anything other than who you already are, at your highest alignment. And others feel that deeply. They may not know what changed. They may not have words for it, but something in them settles when they're near you. That's what happens when someone is integrated. They stop taking energy from the room. They start radiating it. No return to smallness. There will still be doubts, moments of forgetfulness, old triggers knocking at your door. But you are no longer afraid of them. Why? Because your identity no longer collapses in their presence. You've seen too much, felt too much, become too much. You may have moments of contraction, but you won't shrink back into your old shell. It doesn't fit anymore. You've expanded. And the universe, your mirror, will now respond accordingly. Living as the frequency. In the end, the work was never about chasing outcomes. It was about becoming the frequency that attracts them. Not in theory, in embodiment. You wanted love. You became love. You wanted freedom. You honored your truth. You wanted abundance. You shed the scarcity that whispered, "Not yet." And now, you don't have the thing. You are the thing. You carry it in your eyes, your breath, your decisions, your silence. Integration doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you no longer abandon yourself in the face of uncertainty. You stay with yourself. You trust what's unfolding. You let life speak through you. And you walk not as a seeker, but as one who has remembered. This is not the end. This is the opening. To live aligned, to walk softly, but carry light, to speak rarely, but transmit powerfully, to move through life as a sacred instrument, tuned, open, and resonant. This is what it means to become the living transmission. And from here on out, everything you touch remembers who it is, because you remembered first. You've reached the end of this journey, but perhaps the beginning